anything you want done, baby.
It's our own Cody Poundcake Brown, of course, channeling the great, great Shaka Khan. She in the Rock Hall or no? They kept putting her up for induction.
Do you think she got in?
Can't keep track of who gets in. Poundcake was right, though. Shaka Khan did end up doing the last version of the Reading Rainbow theme song, that Tina Fabrique. Her theme, when they hers ran in the 80s until 2009, but then Shaka Khan had the newer version of it.
And I actually think I had, what was her name again?
Tina Fabrique?
Tina Fabrique. I had her version for a time because nothing in school was updated, so we had a bunch of old episodes. But I remember, like Shaka Khan saying something about it, like as she was doing like an interview. I didn't take a look and read a book, but I saw an interview.
Saw it on the television.
Yeah, that she did. They asked her to do the theme song.
Right. All right. Well, there you go. Guardians are off tonight. They are going to be back here at home tomorrow to play the Rays of Tampa, Florida, who are probably happy to be out of the state right now. But the Guardians over the Twins last night, 5-2. They end up taking 2 of 3 in that series up there in Minneapolis. So they will start up first of 3 tomorrow night, 7:10 here on MMS. Guardians, Rays on your FM home. Here. Did you see the follow-up on the gunshots at Sox Park?
Yes.
Guaranteed Rate Field there, they determined, play the clip for you on Monday, that shots were fired in the park and 2 women were scrambling and other people were freaking out. And nobody could figure out. The cops said, well, we don't think it's an active shooter, but we also can't ascertain if the shots came from inside or outside the park. Now, that was a little bit of creative accounting on their part because obviously they came from inside the park. And they determined, I saw a tweet from this woman, Peggy Kaczynski, who is a longtime sports reporter in Chicago. She and I actually started at the same station at the same time, and her career is great. She said that one of the women snuck a gun in the folds of her belly fat and got it through the metal detectors.
Wow.
So I guess my follow-up question is,
That's so American. That's so American.
You can get anything through metal. Metal can't read through fat? The metal detectors?
Or if she goes in and says, hey, I have a metal hip.
Yeah.
And it's in that area of the body, like where her belly's hanging.
And rib replacements.
She's so fat that nobody second guesses her. They're like, of course this lady's
up her fat.
Ma'am, yeah, please pick up your folds. Like, they're not going to.
Well, no, not pick up the folds, but yeah. Or it didn't go off at all. See, my guess is it didn't go off at all. Not that she had to come up with some weird excuse. Because if you're hiding a gun, I want to know more. I just want to know more about this. She snuck one of the women in her entourage were grazed by the bullet. And she snuck the gun in. Now, you're thinking to yourself, wow, probably a small gun, huh? Actually not. It was an AR. That's how fat this woman was.
Shut up.
No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
Nevertheless, I don't know what size it was.
You had to walk through all the metal detectors. They were going off for people's watches and stuff, and then they do a double check and stuff. So I don't know how somebody got in there like that. We kind of felt like it was BS at first, but I mean, I don't know why they would say that if it didn't happen.
First, we thought it was BS. Yeah, so it's going off for people's watches. Probably didn't go off for her, which is my question. So, if you are a big, fat person and you've got, listen, this is in the time we live where no one has any de-escalation techniques anymore in an open carry country. Why this woman thought, now, listen, maybe she was going to be walking home from Sox Park afterwards. You're going to want to have a piece on you if that's the case. But to take it into the park, I don't know. I'd like to know more about that. Really like to have more information. But it's certainly something to consider, I guess, for people who, I don't know. The bullet how did it graze her abdomen? Because that was a report. The bullet grazed her abdomen and hit another woman in the leg. So the gun is in her folds.
It was.
So the barrel was just probably poking out Just poking out. Because she could have easily, if it was fully in there still, shot herself in the stomach, bled out, whatever. You don't want to get shot there.
It was a accidental discharge. Columbus tonight.
Bill Squire in Cincinnati,
Cincinnati
Ohio, next week.
But tonight in Columbus.
Where in Columbus?
The Woodlands Tavern.
Woodlands Tavern.
Get tickets at billsquire.com.
Mm-hmm.
And you get
Bill's got to leave early today, Mary, to entertain the people of Columbus.
No.
$20 ticket.
What was that? No.
That's exactly what it sounded like.
$20 ticket, and it comes with 2 free drinks. So that's a pretty good deal.
Wow.
All right.
A pretty good deal.
Now, will they be checking people's belly fat for firearms?
Yeah, they're very thorough there.
Very thorough. You've never been there before.
I have
though.
been there before.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. And you asked them this. You said, hey.
Yeah.
Will you be
especially
checking?
after this article came out, I checked
Right.
everywhere.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. You know, when you hear people go, nobody wants to work anymore. Part of it's this, because I was reading a thing about how a guy in Indianapolis at a Menards, security guard and a customer shot each other to death. Because a guy, 67-year-old guy, was pushing some materials out to his car. Security guard just asked to see what was on the thing, make sure everything is okay. Guy draws on him. The other guy draws. They just shoot each other right there. This is why people don't want to work. They don't want to get murdered. Because you don't know anymore. You don't know. And nobody can handle questions or, hey, man, is everything cool on the thing? Can I take a look at your
Can I just see your
receipt?
receipt? Yeah.
Hey, can I just, nope, not for that guy. Nope, just draws on the security guard, shoots him, other guy shoots back. Both of them, right? They took them both to the hospital, but they both died on the way. At a Menards in Indianapolis, where there's just, if you get to a home improvement store in the middle of the day, it's really busy because it's all contractors. It's guys on their lunch or it's guys running out to get some stuff.
Retirees?
No,
Nothing
like
better to
young
do?
dudes, like guys on the job. Middle of the
People
day.
working, yeah.
Yeah, is really busy, right? Like if you go in the morning, those places open at like 6 in the morning. You go in the morning, go at night, not so much. But you go middle of the day, like around lunchtime during the week. A lot of dudes, a lot of, guys on the job. Big, long line waiting to go through, whether it's lumber or drywall, whatever it is, materials. So it's really busy. And here's a guy. Now, again, I don't know what time of day this was. And there's really not much to the story. But it's so ludicrous on its face, if you think about it. Because that's one of those things, there's nothing amazing about that story. A guy shopping and another guy doing his job. And they both go at it, and they're both dead. Because
67.
whatever.
This is probably his retirement job. He just wants to hang out around.
No, the customer was 67.
Oh, I had it.
I don't know.
flip-flop. Like a Walmart greeter was what I was picturing.
Well, you might be right. It didn't say how old the security guard was. It said the customer was 67. Alan, you liberal pussy, keep your hands off my Second Amendment belly fat assault rifle. Just like our founders intended. Listen, I can't argue with that, right? I'm full of civic pride after my 2 days of jury duty.
Are you a pansy, Alan?
Alan, can you answer this question? This is from someone on the live stream chat. Are they live?
Are who live?
Us.
Are we live?
Yes.
We are not live. This is all pre-recorded and scripted. And Mary,
Yes.
by the way, I've asked you this a bunch of times. I found your script back on the printer again.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. I was trying to.
How are you going to know what to say?
What if
that I've
these
written for-
leak?
I know. Well, because I
boy.
can't print it from my laptop, so I go to the work computer to print
I
it
know.
off. So then, and it's always connected to a different printer depending on where you're printing it from. So
I know.
My
Those
apologies.
excuses.
Alan, you were mentioning how Bob Barker died, but you neglected to mention that Arlene Sorkin died. Do you know who Arlene Sorkin is?
No one does.
Well, a lot of nerds do because she was the original voice of Harley Quinn, the animated series.
She's great.
She had MS and she died. She was young too, 67. I remember her because she was a character on my mom's soap opera.
Oh.
My mom watched Days of Our Lives when I was a kid, and Arlene Sorkin played this goofy, hippie kind of crazy character named Calliope. And it was like a Dharma and Greg type situation.
Wait a minute. Isn't a calliope like a medical thing?
Are you thinking of colostomy?
No.
She was definitely not named Colostomy, as I recall. She was named
no.
Calliope.
I thought
What are you thinking of? Poundcake has mentioned Calliope before
music, yeah.
with Jeff Z. You don't like Calliope music?
No, I thought it was I thought it was like a medical procedure.
Well, let's figure out what you're trying to think of.
I don't know. Just hearing that word,
Well, a Calliope
assumed-
is not. Are you thinking calipers
No.
or...
I mean, I don't know how many times I've ever even heard that word in my life.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I had not, this person texting me, I had not heard that Arlene Sorkin died. So that's a real bummer. She was married she's married to a guy named Christopher Lloyd, not the actor from Back to the Future, but like a very prominent writer and producer. And he's had his fingerprints on a lot of hit shows. But she was the first voice of the animated Harley Quinn. So that's how a lot of people know her, because she would do Comic-Cons and things like that. But I always think of her from my mom's stories when I was a kid. Honey, my stories are on. And I'd say, okay.
Brian watches wrestling every Wednesday, and that I call those his stories.
He has a Wrestling Wednesday?
Yeah.
Is that when it airs, or that's his day to
No.
watch
That's
wrestling? Okay.
AEW is on
Dynamite
Wednesdays.
or whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
So last night I came into the back living room and he's all cozied up and got a snack, and I'm like, "Oh, you getting ready to watch your stories?" It's like his little, because that's all it is.
It's stories for men.
It is.
Yeah, it's all scripted. It's all, yeah.
And the writing is so bad. I sit back there with him and I'll listen. I was doing my Sudoku puzzle and I'm like, I should apply to write for this show because this is horrendous. And he's like,
Billy Corgan wrote for a long time for wrestling.
Patrice O'Neal wrote for WWE. Yeah.
well, he was also saying that that's kind of the point of it, that it's kind of
Yeah, it's like
horror
over the top
movies
silly,
are.
yeah.
It's supposed to be bad.
Yeah.
Like it's not. They're not going for greatness.
They're going
here.
for campiness.
Yes.
But
Like
also, now seems to be a more fun time to be in it because all of those dopes who thought it was real are kind of gone, right? Like now everybody knows it's fake. There aren't any holdovers who still think it's real because it's been so commodified and so showbizzed out that. But back in the day, there were people that were like, "Oh no, it's real." Now you don't have anybody like that.
Yeah.
It's still real to me, damn it. That guy. Alan, when I got the call that my mother-in-law was passing, I rushed to the hospital. I forgot that I had my pistol on me when walking into the hospital.
Put up his butt.
I went through the metal detector and a guard dog, and nothing happened. The detector did nothing, and the dog walked right past me. That's the other thing that makes me nervous, too, is that people who are so comfortable with firearms, they forget that they're on their body.
Yeah.
Like listen, whatever. You got to live your life, man. If you're terrified of every possible thing that's coming around the corner, like I get it. But these people are like, oh, I forgot. You forgot? Because I'd like to know, I'd like to know if you're strapped. But to your point, sir or madam, yeah, going through the metal detector, nothing happens. But you got a cheap-ass Casio watch on you that thing's going to, because going into jury duty. I had my backpack with me, and I had my water bottle, and so they have the little tray. It's like the airport, obviously, but it's the Justice Center, so they don't want any firearms getting through there. So I put my stuff in the tray, and I put my backpack on the belt, and I'm walking through, and it's going off. They're like, "Well, what do you?" I go, "I don't know." They're like, "Do you have a belt?" "Yeah." "Well, you take the belt off." I take my belt off, and I walk through, and it's fine. But I'm like, my belt buckle set that off.
Right.
This guy walks into a hospital with a pistol and nothing happens. So yeah, that would make me nervous.
Probably wasn't turned on.
When I was in New York with my ex, the first time we ever went to New York City, he was like always have a knife on him guy. And we went to go see like the World Trade Center memorial, and they wouldn't let him in with a knife. And he like seriously debated just not going because he's like, well, I'm not leaving my knife outside. I'm not going to do that. He went and buried it like by a bush outside so that he could come back and get his knife later.
Right.
So, I mean, that's not a gun, but people are like, no, this is important to me. This is this. It came from my person or whatever.
Right, but
but
it's not a gun. Those are two very different things.
But I'm saying,
Your
if
knife
he
is
felt
not
that
gonna-
way about a knife.
I know. I'm just saying your knife is not accidentally going to go off.
But it will. Oh, I get what you're saying.
Yes. There's a guy in the hospital who got through the metal detector and goes, whoops, I forgot I was strapped. I mean,
for all you've done to your bodies. It's still real to me, damn it!
even the people who are at that thing
Are cringing.
yeah, like the other fat guys in the high school bleachers next to the guy. Dude's got a notepad and a pen.
Hey, it's important.
He's taking notes. For what?
He's got nothing else, man.
Happy, let him have it.
No. That's all great. I'm just curious what the notes are.
He wants to remember what they said.
Oh.
They didn't have camera phones back then. You couldn't film it.
Well, somebody filmed that.
Someone filmed that, but he might have not known if they were filming it or not.
Oh.
He probably didn't think he was going to end up being on the internet forever.
Going viral
Yeah.
for 30 years. AEW is coming to Romo Fijo. Is Brian going to go? Might not be
Maybe.
on a Wednesday night.
You know,
I went to that last year, and it was at the, what's it called, Wolstein, and it was a lot of fun live. It's a good
It
time.
is. I
Yeah.
mean, you can get into it.
Yeah.
But it just makes me laugh because I'm like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever
and that's the
watched.
thing though. Like you would think as like a young, gay, impressionable boy. Well, obviously I wasn't out, but like I never looked at any of the wrestlers as like sex symbols, if that makes sense. Like they were.
I did.
My favorite wrestler, but like it wasn't hot to me. It was all like make believe. Like it
But
was.
you also don't like muscular men.
I
You
do
like
like
skinny
muscular men.
little skeleton face white boys.
I like all types of men. They did not. They were all oiled up. They had. It wasn't like they were wearing a Speedo trying to be hot. They were wearing like man panties, like
Yeah.
with glitter and all. I was like that. It was.
And it wasn't hot to you. It was just, you were just there for the excitement of it.
But no, I watched it because the rest of I had a cousin who's my cousin watched it, and then like everyone was like watching it, so I just took a liking to it, I guess, because it was entertaining. But like now they got these young bucks like Logan Paul and Jake Paul.
Those
and
aren't wrestlers.
They
Logan.
They got
One of
has
them
been-
was
He
dabbling
started
in it.
wrestling?
He's
Yes.
been doing like WWE stuff.
They
yeah.
got,
Oh, wow.
They got the.
He's really
Miz.
good at it too.
Of course.
He's really good.
Oh, well,
Dude's
it's,
super.
it's personality.
like
Yeah,
these
his personality
beefcakes.
is super athletic. I think it's the perfect spot for him.
And they got like Bryce Hall, who's like a big TikToker. And I'm like, I don't even know if that's going to attract the young eyes because it's not hot when they wrestle because it looks so contrived, if that makes sense. Like if they're really like taking their shirt off and like squaring up, I'm like, oh yeah, that's hot. Like that, they're smashing it. But it's so choreographed. I'm like, I don't want to, it's not worth it to me.
Well, you don't have
Well,
to
now
buy
you know where
into
Poundcake's
it.
line is.
You don't have to buy into it to look at them and be like, that's a good-looking dude, or
But I
I
can-
like their body,
I
or
look at
whatever.
the pictures. I don't have to watch wrestling to do that. I'll just go to their Instagram or look up, Google the pictures of them.
I've got to take a break here. I'm going to have those Greta Van Fleet tickets for you today. I'm going to hook you up. If you want to go to Kentucky, boy, that Louder Than Life festival is stacked. So I'll have weekend GA passes for you for that. Put you at that Flogging Molly show later on. And still trips to Vegas for our iHeartRadio Music Festival. It's a few weeks away out in Vegas. 5:30 today is going to be the keyword I'm going to have for you to win that trip.
It's the Alan Cox Show on 100.7 WMMS. And everywhere you go on our free iHeartRadio app. Buzzard Radio.
The Buzzard.
Is Rover.
Listen to old Rover. He knows what he's talking about.
And Alan Cox.